Hi YouTube, this is Don Phillips, the Motor Craftsman. Recently I had a need to part something off, and I have several parting tools that I use, some better than others, but the original parting tool that I got for this lathe, it used the, I call them the Harbor Freight cutting tools. They're ½ inch by 16. And these things are really too thin for much of anything on a lathe, especially on these small Chinese 1022 lathes. There's too much slack. There's so much slack that things give and they twist up, and when they twist up with the motion coming down, the more it twists, the more it wants to engage, and then the more it wants to twist, and the more it wants to engage. So they jam up, and these little things break. So I moved up to different cutting hook tools. Let's see. This particular one right here is it's basically a ½ inch by a 16th on the bottom, but it's more like 3/32 I think on the top. So you know they're not straight, and they cut much better. And I also have one here that's about 3/4 of an inch in width, and it also is wider at the top than it is at the bottom, and it cuts okay. It cuts out a good bit of material too when it cuts out. And the one thing on these Chinese lathes is, I don't know if you can see it from the camera, but you have to tighten these gibs down, you know, really tight. Matter of fact, I have to tighten mine down so tight that you can't even turn the compound. There's slack in this thing. It will find every little bit of slack that you have. You can put your finger here on the different spots, and you can feel slack when it's grabbing. I can part off aluminum and brass pretty good. Stainless steel, I still have a good bit of trouble because I have to go slow, and I also have to go kind of jerky motion in and out to get the cut done. And I recently bought this 3/4 holder, so most of my tubes won't hold a 3/4 wide tube bit, and I've had the urge to flip the blade upside down, and to try cutting with the blade upside down with the blade turned in reverse. It seems to do okay with this ½ inch holder, but this is not a flat blade, so if I turn it upside down, it seems to be angled a little bit away, and it seems to rub a little bit. My project for this time is to reproduce a holder pretty much like this one here that I bought, but without designing in any offset to hold a blade that is wider at the top. I'm going to make one that will hold a flat blade like the Harbor Freight ½ by 16 flat blade, and see if cutting with the blade upside down and the machine in reverse, if this will actually cut a part off fairly decent. That's the experiment, and that's the project. Okay? Well, the first step is always to start out with some raw material. I have cut this piece here off with the bandsaw, and we're going to attempt to turn it into something that looks like this. basically the first meal was just to cut out the 1/2-inch tang that will fasten in the tool holder. So from here on it gets a little bit more complicated. Right now I'm making the cut to bring this down right here. It has a little indentation right here, but right now mine is squared off, and as soon as when I get it down to the right depth, I will take either a flywheel cutter, a fly cutter, or a blade, what do you call it, a cutting blade, and run it down to here and make this little angle indentation that holds the blade. But that's where I'm at right now. I bring this down to roughly 120 thousandths deep, and then take this off. Then I'm going to flip it and cut this angle. I'm using a cutter that's big enough to take it all in one cut. I don't want to have to make multiple passes. Here I have the piece in my vise. I've turned the vise around 180 degrees, no, 90 degrees, I'm sorry. 90 degrees from what I normally use it. And I've got it indexed and set up. And this is the piece right here that I am copying. You can probably see the 3 holes. And that is cut at a little bit of an angle. There's a bar that fastens down, that bears down on the blade, and this is cut at an angle so that it bears down on the blade. If you'll notice, I have my milling machine cocked at a little bit of an angle so that I can cut that bevel right here. I tried using a slitting saw on the piece to start with, and it did a horrible job, so I changed it to just a cutter. So I'm not going to show very much work. My thermometer just said 102 degrees, so I'm not going to be out here showing much and doing much. I'm going to get out of the heat. I just brought my dogs inside, and it's too hot for them to be outside, and it's just too hot for me to be in the shop. Y'all have a great day. Okay, I drilled 3 holes in a piece of flat here off the camera and made the plate that squeezes on the top. So this is my cutoff tool holder, and I'm going to try it. And I've mounted the blade upside down. I'm going to try it in my tool post and see if it actually makes a difference in parting. Now, I have tried, this is an experiment, I have tried it several times with other tool holders that I have, and it hasn't done any good. As a matter of fact, it was worse. So I could always find a reason to blame it on, to say, well, it wasn't a good accurate test because the blade was too wide at the top and it was leaning at an angle. One way it was mounted at a positive angle, so that when I mounted in this one, it would make a negative angle. So anyway, I made this tool holder that should eliminate all the other possibilities. It should hold it straight, and I should be able to determine if this is going to be a better parting off tool than what I have. On with the project. This is actually cutting very, very good. I've never had this kind of a good luck or a good cut out of these real skinny cut-off tools. This one hasn't even buckled. I mean, I'm just cranking it in. Just making a good curl. Now, this is aluminum. Aluminum's my first test. I'm behind the camera right now. I'll see if I can't move to the front and get ready to catch it. Also, this has been a dry cut. I haven't sprayed anything on it. I normally spray a little WD-40 on my aluminum. Well, actually, parting off, I spray a lot of WD-40 on my aluminum. But I haven't sprayed any. I'm trying not to get my fingertips in the chuck, because I'm pretty close to the end of the chuck here. And it's kind of hard to see how much more I have to go on parting off, but it looks like I'm very close. Yep, I was close. Let's bring it on over here. Okay, where you at, Han? This is a pretty thin shaving of aluminum. Okay, I wasn't exactly on center, but yeah, I was close. We'll call it a hand grenade. But anyway, that was an improvement. I have never had a 1/16 thickness blade by half anyway. 1/16 by half cutting blade cut off that well, even on a piece of aluminum. We'll try steel. Hang on. I was trying to shed a little bit more light on it, but it still appears dark. A lot of times it appears dark and it shows up a little bit better in the video, so I'm hoping for the best. This is a piece of cold rolled steel. I think it's cold rolled. It's a piece of steel anyway. Not doing a curl. Maybe if I raise it up a little bit, let it down a little bit. Well, see, maybe that will work. Let's see. I'll try to let it down a little bit to start with. Try it again. Try raising her up. It's better if I tighten it. Rubbing it, pushing it in mighty hard, and it's not jamming. It's not cutting in. One thing I never checked is it sharp? Maybe I should check and see if it's sharp. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna try again. It's not cutting all right. I think D40, but I happen to have double D40 in my hand. I still believe I should raise it up more. Doesn't look like the point is going into the steel probably. That's as far as you're going to go. Okay. Not too good. We'll get back later. Well, I tried grinding an angle on the blade and it seems to make it cut. Now I think it's really just going to be a definitely going to have to start using some solution of some kind. Yeah, angle on the blade, to change the angle here from straight to to a negative of some kind. But I'll have to work out the angle off camera. But anyway, I can force it in pretty good. It's not hanging up. Hung up. Well, it's still not a winner, but well, 1/16 blade, and it didn't break it. And I was forcing pretty good too. Not bad. Well, I'm gonna get off camera. It's got a few little details it needs to work out on, but the design seems to be a winner. It's definitely 100% better than it would have been the old way. So I'm going to continue to work on it, and there it is. I'm back. I broke off this video at a bad place. I was cutting off and I hung it up, and I just went ahead and ended the video. And I shouldn't have done that, because actually this parting tool that I have made does a tremendous job considering what it is. It's using a 1/16 by ½ inch cutoff bit. That is really something that is almost unusable in these small lathes, because you break them, they hang up, they jam up, they don't cut. And I had made this one where it cuts through aluminum like butter, and going through steel it was doing really good once I put a grind on the blade, and then it hung up. But I mean, it hung up because I was really forcing it through there. You see these guys like Adam or whatever, just really running the cutoff tool through a piece of steel, and they just wax it off like it's butter. But this is not a monarch. This is a Chinese, you know, I'm not going to call it a piece of shit, but it's a Chinese lathe. It's a small, light-duty Chinese lathe. It has a lot of slack in it, and people that use these lathes have a lot of trouble cutting off. That's why I made this video. I made this tool holder that holds the blade upside down, and it holds it straight out. I need to modify the design a little bit to turn it down so that it has a little bit of a, I think it's negative, make it a little bit more aggressive to get a cut, and it seems to do pretty good. But I will never be able to force it into a piece of steel like the big guys do. I mean, it's just not going to happen. You're going to always have to kind of be on your guard and kind of go slow. And I'm going to try to see if I can do a cut again. I'm going to start over another piece of steel and do it kind of slow and see if I can just run it through there. Alright, here we go. And you gotta go in the right direction, which is backwards. Alright. Everything locked in, yeah. You see how it forces that tool up? That's slack. And I'm going to back out and get rid of the slack. Before I started off, I put a washer under the tail end to give it more negative, whatever you would call it, a rake or point into the, I'm going to take that out. I've got that with the blade, so I don't really need it in addition to the blade. We're gonna put it right back in there the way it was. Because I was cutting pretty good before. Here we go, we're gonna start over. Makes a pretty good cut. See, I am forcing it in there pretty good. I mean, I'm not babying it by any means. I'm twisting. This is something you could normally never do with this small tool. At least I could never do it before with this small 1/16 thickness, 1/2 inch width cutoff tool. I just couldn't do it. And it's turning a pretty good curl. And I do know that if I force it too hard, it will jam. But it jammed before, and I really haven't done anything other than try not to be too aggressive. And this is really not cutting oil either. I'm just spraying WD-40 on it. I do have cutting oil. Did I hit a stopping point? I don't think so. Let's see if I can get you over there. I know, this is a no-no, but hey. Alright, we're gonna ram it back up in there. I'm down to a little bitty tit up in there. I'm not even sure if it will grab it. I may be above it. See no tip. It looks like a very little bit of a tip left in there holding. Normally they stick their hands out to hold this little bit, I think. Yeah. Whew. It's kind of warm too. Had a little bit of a tip, not perfectly lined up, but anyway, that's it. So. That's a better ending. I run it through on steel. Did not jam up because I did not overly force it. I mean, it is what it is. It's a Chinese lathe. It's got slack in it. Will always have slack in it, and it's not a Monarch. And I'm never going to be able to just twist the knob and crank it in and just see the chips flowing and the piece falls off. It's just that we're going to do that. It's going to always be what it is. Alright, thanks for watching, and hey, get in the shop. Do something like I just did. Hey, life is good. Make something before it's over. Have fun.